draw away disciples after them.
On Sunday, May 27th, with the blessing of the first hierarch of the Russian Church abroad, His Eminence Metropolitan Hilarion, the primate of the Orthodox Church in America, His Beatitude Metropolitan JONAH of all America and Canada, celebrated the Divine Liturgy in St. John the Baptist Cathedral in Mayfield, Pennsylvania. This historic parish, founded in 1888, is the oldest in the Eastern American Diocese. The parish's history is tightly interwoven with that of the oldest Orthodox monastery in America, St. Tikhon of Zadonsk Monastery, located 11 miles from Mayfield.
When Metropolitan Jonah came to our parish in Mayfield yesterday, I greeted him and first of all acknowledged some of the historical significance of our parish, specifically that we came to the fold of the Orthodox after being a Greek Catholic church for 11 years in 1902 and were received by St. Alexis Toth personally. In 1905, our parishioners and our rector founded this monastery.
The service was historic because for the first time in over 30 years, a primate of the Orthodox Church in America celebrated the Divine Liturgy in Mayfield. After the parish left the OCA and joined ROCOR in 1982, a bitter conflict ensued for many years that prevented all forms of concelebration.
We left under circumstances primarily related to the calendar. A court case ensued, which was very, very painful for the parishioners, very painful for our pastor, very painful for the valley. It tore families asunder, it tore parishes asunder, it caused Orthodox Christians to not speak to one another for many years. And it wasn't until that day in 2007, when the reunification in Russia took place, that I actually believed somewhere in the distance, hopefully in the near distance, the healing process could extend here to America.
I come to you in a spirit of love, a spirit of forgiveness, with a spirit of reconciliation and healing. I know and understand, I fully acknowledge and weep for the great pain that was caused by decisions made by my predecessors, and ask your forgiveness. I come here today seeking that forgiveness from you, extending it on our behalf.
Grace of the Holy Spirit truly worked through Metropolitan Jonah and coming to us and giving his impression of love and expression of the gratitude of the Church. And the most important thing, of course, is the Eucharist that we join together in, and admitting what has happened in the past should not have happened.
It is, I can't find any words to express how glad I am personally. I grew up in this area, went to seminary at St. Tikhon Seminary, had many experiences with the students here over the years, and it was a heart-rending experience in those years when we were divided. But now I think that we are building bridges toward each other, to understand each other.
Now that it's all over, it's reconciled, we begin building a new bridge that's going to be made out of concrete, not out of wood.
Of course, every liturgy is filled with grace, but this was particularly beautiful because it was all about reconciliation and healing. And the continuation of that reconciliation begun by Patriarch Alexei and Metropolitan Lawrence, both of blessed memory.
The monastery and Abbot Sergius, the seminary and Father Alexander, Archbishop Tikhon, and yesterday Metropolitan Jonah personally reached out to our parish in such way that he embodied a pamphlet that he himself wrote many years ago as a young hieromonk entitled Forgiveness and Reconciliation. So I could not imagine a more appropriate conclusion to this 5-year journey.
You know, there was a lot of pain, a lot of hurt feelings over the years, and that's what needs to be healed and forgiven. But really, I mean, it's one community.
My late father, Lord have mercy on his soul, was involved initially in this whole process, has been deceased now for 10 years, and he himself would be overjoyed to see that we've come to this day.
Today, when Americans celebrate Memorial Day, the Orthodox tradition of performing a procession from Mayfield to the monastery has been revived. Orthodox people from eastern Pennsylvania performed this procession annually on this day since 1905. Their tradition halted for many years, owing to a breach in canonical communion between ROCOR and the OCA. As a result of the signing of the Act of Canonical Communion on May 17, 2007, relationships with the OCA have normalized, and greater numbers of pilgrims from the Church abroad have begun to visit the monastery. Processions of a similar nature, although much shorter, were held in previous years, but this year the faithful will once again follow the original century-old path.
I'm standing here with Protodeacon Joseph Matuziak, Secretary and Archdeacon to the Metropolitan of the Orthodox Church in America. Father Joseph is also the organizer of this year's procession. Father Joseph, what are your impressions so far? What do you think about the turnout that we have today?
Well, I wasn't expecting much. If we had 5 people, I was going to be excited about that, because we'll have 5 people this year and 10 people next year. But I think we're going to have about 25, and that's exciting. You know, young people coming out, old people as well, and doing something that's part of our Orthodox tradition, going on pilgrimage. And we haven't done it here, you know, for almost 30 years. So it's time to start doing that again on an annual basis. So I'm excited. It's good stuff.
I think it's a beautiful thing. It pulls people together. It gives them a common experience, a common task undertaken, and a common podvig, because it's quite a podvig to go up over the mountain and 11 miles or whatever it is. People from many different communities coming together, a chance for them to get to know one another. There's only so much you can do at parish coffee hour. And of course, during the liturgy, people shouldn't be talking to one another, supposedly. But it's a real chance for Christian fellowship, and that's a good thing.
A number of years ago, I met a couple of the young people from the choir of the Diocese of Eastern America, and became friends with them. And from my initial idea of doing this, I got a lot of support from them, just in general support and actual support, saying that they would participate in things. So I think so it definitely did. And a residual effect, or a secondary effect from just organizing this, was just us coming together and getting to know each other more and doing things together. And like the Metropolitan said at Liturgy today, together being a witness to the world. You know, there are a few of us, and where we do find each other, we need to get to know each other better and stick together and walk together.
Thank you very much, Father. Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you into myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
Look upon thy servants participating in this pilgrimage, and pardon them every transgression, both voluntary and involuntary. Bless their journey, grant them a safe return. We beseech thee, hearken and Lord, save us.
After a short Moleben before the myrrh-streaming Hawaiian Ivaron icon of the Mother of God, Metropolitan Jonah gave his blessing for the procession to begin. The faithful walked for 13 miles through several towns and over a mountain ridge, processing through the beautiful natural surroundings of northeastern Pennsylvania. Among the other clergy who joined Father Joseph were the Dean of St. John's Cathedral, Archpriest John Sorochka, and OCA Chancellor Archpriest John Gillians. As the procession neared the monastery, we caught up with several members of the group to get their impressions of this historic journey. We're here with Subdeacon Nathaniel Sorochka and Mark Sechnik, who are the advance guard on the procession from St. John's Cathedral in Mayfield to St. Tikhon's Monastery. Gentlemen, would you like to say a few words on your impressions of the procession so far?
So far, the procession was quite overwhelming. You know, you realize that over 100 years ago that our forefathers came this direction to come to St. Tikhon's for the founding of the monastery. And to be able to walk in the footsteps of those same gentlemen and ladies, and even children that made the journey, seems to take you back into the time. And as Mark and I were walking, we were kind of reminiscing about our youth and how we remember our ancestors doing somewhat of a similar procession from St. John's to St. Tikhon's back in 1980. At that time I was a child myself. I was only 7 years old, and I pointed out on the route where I said this is where I ended up going into the car. I had enough. And to pass that milestone 30 years later and to see that we were able to do it, and it wasn't a bad journey. I think we did pretty good.
You know, my wife and kids are on the journey too. My wife is in a backup vehicle, and my 19 and 16-year-old kids are walking also. It's good for the soul, it's good for the mind and body, and it does bring us back to our roots. As Nat and I were saying, my grandfather used to walk from Simpson to Mayfield, year-round to go to church before there was a Russian church in Simpson. So this is all part of our heritage, and it's a good thing that we're doing this. It's a good thing to bring it back and to keep it alive and to bring unity to the church.
Recreating and reliving the paths of our forefathers 100 years ago, is a memorable occasion, and to hear from those who participated in a similar walk about 30 years ago, it's something just to be here. It's been a wonderful day.
Especially the Orthodox youth. This is something that is so necessary within all of our churches, to involve the youth in not only the divine services and in education, but in these kinds of activities that are going to introduce them to each other and bind them together, God willing, for years to come, if not for life. So to me, the youth fraternizing with one another is the biggest benefit that this brings.
And when he speaks about youth, I would hope he's speaking about us, but probably not. But it's been just tremendous on this last bit here to meet somebody like Subdeacon Michael. Our lives have been such parallels of each other, for so long, and to finally, get to meet each other and spend time together and share stories, it's just wonderful. It's just a great experience all the way around.
Thank you, Father. Tell us some of your impressions.
Okay,
came over the mountain.
What a fantastic situation. All these people walking, hot day as it is, but keeping in mind why they're walking. It's truly a pilgrimage. People join together in spirituality. As they join together in spirituality, they build their strength up, their physical strength up, to finish the pilgrimage walk. And then in a little while we'll be at the monastery. What a wonderful feeling. I can only imagine what our forefathers thought when they went the very first time to start the monastery in 1905.
This is the first time that I've heard something like this in America happening, and as a lot of us know that in Russia, people take pilgrimages like this all the time, and they go from one monastery to another. And while this was on a smaller scale than what people would do in Russia, like they can go like 200 miles, this was like 11 miles, but it was still pretty far, and I was very happy to see so many people join in. And there were some people who were so determined to walk all those 11 miles, even though it was really humid and really hot, and people walking in their podriasniki and stuff. It was really a great experience to see so many people determined to walk for the glory of God.
When they finally arrived at the monastery, the pilgrims were greeted with the peal of bells at the main gate by Metropolitan JONAH, Archbishop Tikhon of Philadelphia, and Abbot Sergius, who brought out several relics and icons from the church for veneration. The monastery was founded by Hieromonk Arseny Cherkovtsov in 1905 with the blessing of the then head of the Orthodox Diocese of North America, Archbishop St. Tikhon Bilavin, the future Patriarch of Moscow and all Russia. The monastery was built on donations by emigres from Eastern Europe, who came in great numbers to Pennsylvania, which was rich in local reserves of coal and iron ore. Originally, St. Tikhon's monastery housed only several monks who operated a nearby orphanage. In 1938, a seminary was opened alongside the monastery. Today, the seminary accepts 15 to 20 new students every year. Currently, about 60 seminarians are studying at St. Tikhon's monastery, of whom 10 are from the Russian Church abroad, which bears witness to our recently established unity.
A great blessing for me to come here to this oldest of Orthodox monasteries in North America. An OCA monastery, but one that whose tradition and whose spiritual influence really needs to be felt by all of us here in this country. We share a common history, but a history that we don't know very well. This is a place that has been graced by the presence of saints, and their presence likewise is also here. I am a grateful pilgrim here today at St. Tikhon's.
To better understand the historical significance of the pilgrimage on Memorial Day weekend, today we met with the abbot of St. Tikhon's Monastery, Father Sergius Bauer. For the first time in over 30 years, pilgrims are coming in procession from St. John's Cathedral in Mayfield to St. Tikhon's Monastery for the pilgrimage weekend. How is the rebirth of this tradition affecting or benefiting the relationship between St. Tikhon's and the Church Abroad community?
Well, I think it's really important that the monastery always has an open arms and an outstretched hand to everybody, but especially to those that are closest to the monastery. Of course, the monastery was founded by St. Tikhon, Patriarch of Moscow, in 1905, consecrated by St. Raphael of Brooklyn. And so we've always had a very large family of Orthodox in America that were connected to the monastery. Unfortunately, through historical circumstances, those ties became strained. But as of late, with the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia, we feel that once again we extend the olive branch. We're always glad and rejoice with them as we seek peace from the Lord, because really that unity that comes to us doesn't come from our willingness to just shake hands and be friends, but rather through the Holy Spirit. So as we draw close to Christ together, Christ will unite us, and Christ will be our joy and our peace and our reconciliation.
Father, some of our viewers aren't entirely acquainted with Memorial Day, why Americans celebrate Memorial Day, and why the Memorial Day weekend is so important in the life of the monastery and the Orthodox community.
Well, I think that St. Tikhon wanted the pilgrimage on Memorial Day because as Orthodox we know that one of the most important things that we can do is to honor and pray for the dead, the departed. And what more important thing to do than to honor and pray for those who have departed this life defending this country, where we have such great religious freedom. So as Orthodox in America, it was very important to establish a remembrance of the departed that was in keeping with the American calendar. And one of them is a very important day, is Memorial Day. And so at the very, very inception, when St. Raphael and St. Tikhon came from Mayfield for that first Memorial Day pilgrimage, was with the understanding that not only were we honoring the monastery and seeing the blessing of the monastery, receiving the blessing of the monastery, and visiting the monastery in pilgrimage, which is very essential and important to establish a time for Orthodox people to go to monasteries as a group and to rejoice in the mercy of God and receive the blessing of the monastery, but also, even more importantly, to remember those who have been able to defend the freedoms that we cherish so much in America, as well as honor the departed, which is such a central part of Orthodox life.
Repose of the souls of the servants of God, all those who have fallen asleep in defense of the United States of America.
On the final day of the pilgrimage, the Divine Liturgy was celebrated by the Primate of the Orthodox Church in America, Metropolitan JONAH, who was co-served by hierarchs of the OCA, Archbishop Tikhon of Philadelphia, Bishop Melchizedek of Pittsburgh, Bishop Michael of New York, and Bishop Matthias of Chicago, as well as a multitude of clergy from many jurisdictions. The liturgy was adorned by a combined choir of singers from St. Tikhon Seminary, Holy Trinity Seminary in Jordanville, New York, and the Eastern American Diocesan Youth Choir.
It's been an incredible actually few months for the youth, for Jordanville, for St. Tikhon's, for the youth choir of the Eastern Diocese, because for the first time ever we've managed to collaborate, first in Philadelphia, for the performance of the Good Thief, which we did a few months ago. After that, it was such a success. In particular, Benedict, the conductor of the choir here at St. Tikhon's, was so impressed with that whole weekend that he wanted to do something here.
Singing in the choir was really a great experience because there were so many people from all over. There were people like from Pittsburgh, from Montreal, from New York. I'm from Connecticut, and it was great to get all together with those people, and we had some really great talent, really good voices singing with us, so it was a really great experience.
I just got back from a trip to Russia, actually. I was in Moscow for the 5th year anniversary of the reunification. And it was really special to come here today because it reminds me that we're not only reunited with the Russian Church, but also with the Orthodox Church of America. The reconciliation not only erased international borders for us, but it also erased domestic.
It was wonderful to see so many youth, the youth choir from the Eastern American Diocese, the Holy Trinity Seminary Choir, the St. Tikhon Seminary Choir, uniting today in the Holy Church to sing the Divine Liturgy. This is a great show of unity and a great example for our young people to emulate.
One major highlight of the pilgrimage was the visitation of the myrrh-streaming Hawaiian Ivaron icon of the Mother of God. Hundreds of the faithful came and poured out their hearts before this wonder-working image, which abundantly streamed myrrh over the course of the liturgy. The icon's guardian, Reader Nectarios Yangston, speaks on the history of the icon.
Not that my opinion matters, really, but if it did, I believe that the Mother of God, of course, would like her children to be together, as much as possible. Schism, there's no grace in schism. St. John Chrysostom said that the stain of schism cannot even be wiped clean with the blood of martyrdom. But what is interesting is that before we found the icon giving myrrh, in October of 2007, for many months I was noticing this beautiful fragrance of roses, and I can't remember exactly when I started noticing that fragrance. But one thing that is interesting is that I remember sitting at my computer at home, and it was in the middle of the night, I believe it was, and we were watching the service of the act of canonical communion, and of course the liturgy with Vladika Lauris and Patriarch Alexei, of blessed memory. And I remember smelling this fragrance of roses and not really understanding, the significance of it, but I remember that it was very pungent. And I'm allergic to practically everything. And potpourri is something that I cannot have in the house. So whenever I do notice a very strong fragrance, well, I did at the time, I would take that into account, and that would be something that I would remember. Yeah. So as far back as May, I remember smelling that beautiful fragrance. Yeah. But in October of 2007 was also the 10-year anniversary of the martyrdom of Brother Jose Munoz. So 2007 was a very big year for our Russian Church abroad.
Upon completion of the liturgy, the Secretary of the Eastern American Diocese of ROCOR, Archpriest Serge Lukyanov, read aloud a greeting from the first hierarch of the Russian Church abroad, Metropolitan Hilarion.
This year is especially momentous as the Russian Church abroad celebrates the 5th anniversary of her reunification with the Moscow Patriarchate. We have an opportunity to more fully appreciate the grace we have been given as believers of both of our jurisdictions approach one chalice. With the addition of the Holy Trinity Seminary Choir and the Eastern American Diocesan Youth Choir to the St. Tikhon's own seminary choir, we sow today the seeds for collaboration between our youth, who will know little of the divisions that kept the older generations apart. Let us build upon this strong foundation. God willing, just as the faithful of the Russian Church abroad are now returning to the traditional Memorial Day pilgrimage at St. Tikhon's Monastery, so the faithful of the Orthodox Church in America will come once more to the Labor Day pilgrimage at Holy Trinity Monastery in Jordanville, New York. Let's never, ever forget that our strength is in our unity. Let us never allow ourselves to repeat the mistakes of the past, abiding instead in brotherly love, thereby bearing witness to our Christian faith, spreading the word of God to our beloved American land.
I thought Metropolitan Hilarion's letter was a great blessing. It summed up all the possible aspects of the importance of this day and this anniversary, especially when he reminded us that, symbolized by the choir, it was a youth choir from various elements in the Orthodox Church, which are here in the United States. And he reminded us especially that we should leave our youth unaffected by the mistakes, as he called them, of the past. I think that was a momentous thing to say.
Our Lord gave us a commandment to go out and to preach to all nations, to baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And we share that mission, both the Orthodox Church in America and the Orthodox Church abroad. And us coming together today will only strengthen that mission here in America.
The chalice today did not recognize any differences among us, all of us baptized Orthodox Christians with one faith, one Lord, and one baptism. I think that unity is something that we have to achieve even deeper. With all the aspects of Orthodox Christianity in this country, we all have the same enemy, and it is not each other anymore. It is American secularism, as Metropolitan Hilarion also pointed out.
Well, it's my hope that this celebration of the 5th anniversary of the reunion, of which we're celebrating here as well, by this weekend, and especially with the events in Mayfield, the wonderful liturgy, the pilgrimage to St. Tikhon's Monastery, that we can really restore a real fullness of close interrelationship, of close collaboration, as His Eminence Metropolitan Hilarion said in his magnificent letter, which I was just thrilled to death. I mean, after that, what more can be said? He's truly we're one in Christ, one in spirit, and I profoundly appreciate him. We have a lot of work to do. We really need to draw closer, to collaborate on so many different projects, especially in areas of youth activities, and areas of music, and areas of education. Whatever it is that we can do to bring our people together, to bring our clergy together, to solidify that unity of vision and that unity of life in our common mission to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to this country, and to live with great faithfulness according to the Russian Orthodox tradition.
I never thought it would happen. I really didn't. I didn't think that that the differences would ever be put away. Thank God to Metropolitan JONAH, whose leadership in the Orthodox Church in America has brought us together, our oneness of mind in the Holy Faith. Our Metropolitan Hilarion, of course, they have very good relationships, and I feel that we're only going to increase and grow from here on in.
With so many uncertainties concerning the future administration of the many different Orthodox jurisdictions in America, after this weekend we know one thing for certain. The brotherly spiritual ties between the hierarchy, clergy, and faithful of the Orthodox Church in America and the Russian Church abroad are being restored. Having been separated from one another for so many years, every joint parish event, every joint pilgrimage, and every joint liturgy strengthens our mutual desire to serve God above all things in unity and love, never allowing bitter divisions to once again tear apart the raiment of Christ.
Blessed be the